my agent rang me up and said there's a gentleman in London who's coming over to London. And he's set himself up in the 20th Century Fox offices in Soho, and would very much like to see you. So I thought, this is interesting. I had no idea who he was, and it turned out to be George Lucas, you see. And they said, would you go to the 20th Century Fox offices in Soho and meet up with him, you see. So I went up to the offices, and it was, fortunately for me, I knew the managing director of 20th Century Fox, who I'd worked with before, and he took me into this room. He took me into the room and introduced me to George Lucas, and then George Lucas took me into another, a very, very large room, and all the way around the room were what they call conceptual drawings of this film that he was going to do, and he was showing me all these drawings, and we're going around looking at them, and they're all sort of space, sort of space age, and like rockets and funny creatures and things like this, you see. And he said to me, he said, I'd like to offer you one of two parts in this movie I'm doing. I thought, wow, this is amazing. I've been offered two parts of the movie, like, you know. And I said, what are the parts? He said, well, the first one's a character called Chewbacca. So I said, what the hell is Chewbacca? And he said, it's like a hairy gorilla that goes through the film on the side of the goodies, you see. So I said, oh, no, thank you, George, I don't fancy that very much. I said, what's the other one? And he said, well, the other one's the big villain of the film, a character called Darth Vader. And I said to him, George, I'll have the villain's part. He said, tell me for why. I said, well, if you think back on all the films that you've ever seen where there are good guys and bad guys, I said, you always remember the bad guy. He said, Dave, he said, I think you've made a very wise decision. He said, because nobody will ever forget Darth Vader. And here we are, 40-odd years later. Well, you mean the Darth Vader suit? Yeah, it weighed about 40 pounds. Weighed about 40 pounds. And it went on about 15 different pieces. And most of it was made from quilted leather. But then all the fiberglass pieces and the helmet and everything else went on top of that. But no, it was quite comfortable. The headpiece was a bit of a problem because they were made a bit on the large side, so they had to pad the inside of the mask out so that when you moved, the mask moved with them. But other than that, it was quite pleasant. What, sorry? Yeah, but the thing with this is that as you probably know, all the dialogue of Darth Vader is James Earl Jones. I did the dialogue all the way through the movie, but of course, coming through the mask, it was no good for reproduction purposes, you see. And so I used to say to George, what are we going to do about the voice? Because, this, obviously everybody who I'm working with can hear me and react to me. I said, but it's no good for reproduction. I said, well, don't worry, we'll go into the sound studios at the end of the filming and redo all your dialogue. But then, of course, what happened was they got to the end of the movie, chased back to America because they couldn't get all the special effects that they wanted in the UK. And then when they were in the UK, when they were in America, they suddenly realised that they hadn't ever done my voice and it was too expensive to get me all the way over from England over to Hollywood just to load half a dozen lines. And so they got James Earl Jones in. I think James Earl Jones did an absolutely fantastic job. What are you doing?
But you did just as good as one.
I would have done, thank you. I think I would have done. I could have done equally as well, yes. I'd like to think I could.
David, do you think you'll ever retire?
I don't want to. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself at the moment. I mean, because as I said, at the present moment, I just travel around the world doing all these Star Wars conventions. And I'm just about to go to Paris in a couple of weeks' time. And if I wanted to do, I could be somewhere different in the world every weekend. And, I think I was going over my diary dates for this year, and I think I've got 30. I think was it 33 or 35 shows lined up already for this year, traveling all over the world. Anybody else? Any more? How are we doing? Yeah? Okay. Well, that's very nice. It's been very, very thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. It's going to get a bit dry, but it's been a very nice experience. And I'd like to thank everybody who made this possible. Thank you very much indeed.
Mr. David Prowse, thank you so much.
award. It's the Heritage Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award to David Prowse for outstanding contribution to entertainment. So please accept that.